Checking my mic. Hi, hello everyone. This is your boy Kai Sasaki here. Today we're gonna watch a theory about Has Been Hotel. This is a glimpse for season 2, but he mostly made this for season 1, which is this video. Not that long ago actually, like 2 years, something like that. But season 1, like what's like 3 years now? Well, anyway, yes, we watch Has Been Hotel from film theory. Let's hop into it.
Is heaven a lie in Has Been Hotel? A lot of the angels here in heaven believe that there's no way for a soul in hell to ever find redemption and join them in paradise. But, well, what if they need some redemption? Whoa, sorry.
I'm so sorry for that. What happened to me? Well, maybe my hands dirty. Okay, I just doing chores. I just finished doing chores, so I might not gonna say much. Well, I guess that's the announcement that I want to make, and I'm sorry for disturbing you guys. Alright, let's go.
Option 2. Hello, Internet! Welcome to Film Theory, the show that's a loser, baby, a loser, gosh darn baby. Sorry, don't know what came over me there. So, okay, loyal theorists, today I want to talk to you about Has Been Hotel, created by animator Vivian Medrano, known online as Vivzipop. This was a show that I was aware of, but after a friend of mine got really into it and couldn't stop recommending it, I finally decided to follow her advice last year and check it out. And man, I loved it. If you don't know, Has Been Hotel takes place in the Helliverse, a world where heaven and hell are real and all of the characters from the Bible are living, breathing people who just really love to get their emotions out through song and dance. However, hell is overpopulated, so once a year an army of angels called the Exorcists are sent to destroy several of these souls for good. But our main character, Charlie Morningstar, believes that there's a more humane solution here. And yes, Morningstar as in the daughter of Lucifer Morningstar, the devil himself. See, instead of abusing her position as the daughter of the king of hell to hurt others, Charlie is a good person and believes that the souls in hell can be redeemed and sent up to heaven. So she starts the Has Been Hotel to try to do just that, to, well, mixed results to say the least. It's a great concept, combining genuinely well-written songs, creative art direction, and a lot of adult humor into a show that has its own super unique identity that a lot of people really vibe with. I mean, there's a reason Amazon picked up the show after the pilot released on YouTube, and really, I knew I wanted to cover it because I just enjoyed it so much. Though the creators haven't really shied away from sharing tidbits of lore online or at conventions, they have been keeping their biggest cards close to their chest. And they clearly have plans that are going to be difficult to piece together with the information we currently have. I mean, the Helliverse has...
Did you see the season 5 announcement for some reason? Season 5?
One of the most passionate fan bases I've seen in years, and they haven't solved everything yet. So, you know what? This one's for me, loyal theorists. I just want to have fun here and talk about a series I like. Will this 100% be what happens in the show? Almost certainly not. But maybe we can figure out something to theorize about here together. Because, I mean, there's just so much to talk about. What's the mysterious Alastor really up to? And what's up with his control over Husk and Nifty, my two favorite characters, by the way? What's up with Rosie, and how is she able to make Alastor so powerful all by herself? Is the Husker Dusk Nation ever gonna get their happy ending? All good threads to pull on, but what I want to talk about today is bigger than that. It's actually a theory that me and the team of writers here were putting together before season 2 started up, and it has to do with the heaven here in Has Been Hotel. Yeah, the paradise that everyone seems to want to get to seems a little off, doesn't it? A lot of the people here aren't very nice, and arguably many of the denizens of hell probably deserve to be there more than the angels do. So maybe the heaven we see here isn't actually heaven. What if it's just another part of hell and everyone here also needs to find their own redemption? Oh yeah, this one's a little out there, loyal theorists, but it's gonna be a fun one. So shake my hand and let's make a deal, friends, as we check into the Has Been Hotel. Okay, so to get started here, let's talk about the conflict at the heart of this story. Like I said in the intro, Charlie wants to help save the souls in hell by teaching them to be good, so that they might be redeemed enough to enter heaven. But most of the people in heaven don't believe this is possible, and Adam himself is adamant that there's no way for a soul in hell to find redemption.
Hell is forever, whether you like it or not.
This is basically the main discourse across season 1, with Charlie even going to heaven to debate the angels on this very topic. Here, Adam explains that he believes the best way to get into heaven is to
act selfless, don't steal, stick it to the man.
But when the group then watches Angel Dust, one of the hotel's patrons, do all 3 of these acts, he doesn't get redeemed and doesn't end up in heaven. Man, poor Angel. He's a good boy. He deserves the best. Anyway, this shows that Adam himself doesn't really know the mechanics of how all of this works.
He's not in the wrong place.
In fact, no one really does. When Sir Pentious, another resident of the hotel, is redeemed at the end of season 1 and arrives in heaven, no one understands how he did it. Though I do have to wonder if any of these characters ended up in hell because of their diets. I mean, gluttony is a circle of hell here, but I think they probably could have avoided that with Groons, the partner for today's theory. Groons packs a lot into a small package. We're talking multivitamins, prebiotics, and green gummies, all in one. Still, many in heaven don't believe it's possible or that it was a mistake with Sir Pentious. And even going back to Adam, one of the angels in charge of heaven, Sarah, defends him by saying,
he was the first human soul in heaven.
So who's to say he's actually wrong? Maybe Angel Dust just didn't redeem himself enough. Well, here's the thing. If you know your Bible lore, that comment right there should really stand out to you. Yeah, Adam shouldn't have been the first soul in heaven. According to the Bible, he is not the first person to die on earth. That is Adam's son Abel, killed by his brother Cain. In fact, Adam lives for quite a while after Abel's death, so if we're following Bible lore here, why would Adam be the first soul in heaven and not Abel? So, okay, they have the order of people showing up in heaven wrong, and no one is actually sure how this place works. The mechanics of getting into heaven? Already something's fishy here, but the more we look into this, the fishier it gets. Why? Well, heaven doesn't seem very heavenly, does it? I mean, this one should be obvious, but Adam being the chief good guy of heaven doesn't really sit well because he is far from what the Bible describes as a good person. I mean, it's kind of one of the big themes of the show, right? Adam is selfish. He swears. He's lustful. He doesn't respect others. He refuses to offer forgiveness to those who earn it. This version of the character we see here in Has Been Hotel isn't the type of guy who really deserves a place in heaven, even by his own standards. And secondly, a lot of the beings we meet up in heaven might not exactly fit in either. When we first meet Sarah and Emily, the seraphim angels who help run heaven, they quickly transform into bodies that look very human. But before their transformations, they look a lot like humanoid birds. And also just so happen to look like another character, Stella, from another show set within this same universe, Hell of a Boss. Both shows are set within the Helliverse, so anything we see in Hell of a Boss is also canon and has been, and vice versa. But these bird-like seraphim aren't look like characters from other parts of hell. As St. Paul is showing Charlie around, we see a resident that looks like a spider, similar to Angel Dust, who is also a spider. There's also a wolf creature seen in heaven, like the hellhounds seen in Hell of a Boss, and even Adam and the Exorcist helmets look a lot like the horns of imps. Now, sure, all of this could be a coincidence, or just a consistent art style from its creators, but that's a lot of character design showing us that the people in heaven and hell just aren't that different from one another, or that maybe heaven and hell aren't that different at all. Now, at this point, I was really convinced that we were onto something. Maybe heaven wasn't actually heaven, and it was actually a part of hell. That would explain why Adam's actually here and awful, and why he's said to be the first soul in heaven, and why Abel isn't in the show in season 1. He's actually in the real heaven. Like, for real, me and my team had this theory cooking before season 2 launched, and I wanted to make it during that season, but then it came out and we ran into a bit of a problem. Yeah, it turns out Abel was here in heaven.
Hello, Abel here, son of Adam, rest in peace.
And voiced by Patrick Stump from Fall Out Boy. Yeah, we love some classic 2000s emo music in this house.
So good.
Wait, this doesn't really make sense because Adam still outlived Abel in the Bible, so wouldn't Abel still have been the first human soul in heaven? Yeah, this was a real head scratcher for me, and something is going on here, and I wanted an explanation. And, well, after thinking long and hard about it, I think we got one. And it all comes down to how hell is structured here. So you've probably heard the idea of the rings of hell before, and this doesn't actually come up in the Bible. No, instead, this is from everyone's favorite Bible fanfiction, Dante's Inferno, which has kind of become the de facto way most people actually view hell. Within the Helliverse, we know that there are at least 7 rings of hell, 7 parts of this world, more or less, stacked on top of one another. So far, only 6 of these have been officially named and seen: pride, wrath, gluttony, greed, lust, and sloth. Presumably, the last ring of the 7 is envy, making each of these rings named after one of the 7 deadly sins. Now, the rings in Dante's Inferno aren't actually related to the 7 deadly sins. Now, there is some overlap, but heresy, violence, and fraud from Dante's Inferno aren't on the list here for the Helliverse. Additionally, Dante's Inferno famously features 9 circles of hell, not 7. So, as a result, you might be thinking, hey, it's not a perfect match. Maybe Has-Been's just inspired by Dante's Inferno and leaves it there. And that would make sense, except for one small problem. 9 circles of hell were referenced in Has-Been's pilot episode.
Pilot?
In the 9 circles makes you think a single denizen of hell would give about becoming a better person.
And Vivzipop confirmed that the lore present in this episode is still canon. So there are 9 circles of hell in the Helliverse, just like in Dante. We know that Has-Been Hotel takes place in the Pride Ring. So looking at the sins and everything else in Dante's Inferno, is there one of these rings that could line up with what heaven looks like here in the show? Well, yeah, actually. Within Dante's Inferno's many layers of hell, the worse a sin is, the deeper into the earth you'll find its ring. So lesser sins like lust and greed are towards the top of the rings, and their punishments aren't as intense. But further down, towards the bottom, you have violence, fraud, treachery, and their punishments are much, much worse. But above all of these circles,
it just made
the very top, there's one final layer, the least punishing layer of hell, limbo. Now, you've probably heard the word limbo before because it's everywhere in pop culture these days, but in Dante's Inferno, limbo has a very specific purpose and meaning. See, the topmost layer of hell is the closest one to Earth, and is basically reserved for people who weren't necessarily bad, but didn't meet the criteria to get into heaven. According to Dante, this mostly revolved around accepting Jesus Christ as their savior, and examples would be like children who weren't baptized before dying, those living before the times of Christianity, or those who had no way of learning about him. Like, you can't accept Jesus if you don't know he exists. Anyway, what's most important for us here is that, while this is a part of hell, limbo doesn't have any real damnation in Dante's Inferno. It's basically described as like an inferior form of heaven, where there aren't any punishments like torture or anything like that. And on top of that, check this out. According to the lore of Dante's Inferno, both Adam and Abel would be in limbo at the same time. They were people from the Bible who lived before the time of Jesus, so they wouldn't have met the criteria to enter heaven. In fact, the character Virgil explains that he saw Jesus descend into limbo to save those worthy souls who died before being saved by Christ. Adam and Abel, yes, but also the likes of Moses, Noah, and Abraham. So it's very possible that what we're seeing here in Has-Been Hotel are events that take place before Jesus has come down to limbo to save anyone. That would explain why there are timeline inconsistencies and why people in heaven aren't necessarily the best. But even beyond that, there could be a lot of story implications here because of this for a lot of the characters in heaven. While not every denomination of Christianity believes in limbo, a lot of them do believe in a similar idea known as purgatory. In Catholicism, purgatory is a state before people enter heaven where they are purified and purged of all of their sin. Before they can move on, they have to let go of their sinful attachments to make sure that nothing unclean actually enters heaven. That means that, even if a worthy soul dies, before they can enter heaven, they have to go through a sort of individual judgment. Now, there isn't a lot we know about what specifically goes on in purgatory, but from what we do know, it's similar to limbo in that you don't need to be straight up evil to enter this temporary state. It's also not a place of punishment, but also isn't heaven itself. So, looking at Has-Been Hotel and how they take biblical concepts and twist them into their own new version with their own ideas, maybe heaven here is also taking this idea of finding individual judgment for these characters so they themselves can grow past their biggest flaws. And you know what? We actually have the perfect example of this in the show itself with Adam's right-hand woman, Lute. Yeah, so in case you need a refresher, Lute is one of Adam's angel exorcists, a supporting character in Season 1 who takes on a bit more of an important role in Season 2 after Adam's death. She also has an absolutely sick song that's been in my head for weeks at this point. If we look at Lute as a character, we see a lot of characteristics that seem like they need redemption, right? She's 100% on board with Adam's exorcist cleanse and wants to kill the evil souls in hell. She doesn't believe that they can be forgiven, and we even see her lack of compassion during Vaggie's origin story. She basically clips Vaggie's wings and leaves her for dead in hell for the great crime of showing mercy. That's very wrathful, isn't it? Then later, after Adam dies, Lute becomes hell bent on revenge. She has a higher opinion of herself than she should, believing that she should be in charge of the exorcists now that Adam is gone. So very envious of Abel when he gets the job, isn't it? And then when she's proven wrong by Sir Pentious arriving in heaven, proving that souls can be redeemed, that doesn't change her mind. She's too prideful. And of course, there is a hiccup in her plan. The powers that be don't appoint Lute as the leader of the exorcists, and instead give the job to Abel, who is much kinder, much more compassionate and empathetic, and willing to show mercy. He doesn't agree with Lute's violent methods, which we get to hear in this awesome song that I'm afraid to play for copyright reasons. But the lyrics go, "Let me stop you right there, there's no cause for attack. Swallow your pride, cast your bloodlust aside, you better fall back." Naturally, this infuriates Lute, and her entire story arc has her become so obsessed with revenge that she kind of loses her mind. But while she sees every hurdle thrown at her as a roadblock to overcome for her desires, really? Well, if this heaven is in reality a purgatory limbo, there are actually chances for her to let go of her sinful attachment to revenge, to let go of these deadly sins of wrath, pride, and envy. Every time Adam appears to Lute in her mind, it's an opportunity to let go. She's being tempted and tested, and yet she is unwilling to forgive.
This demon filth is not to be trusted. He and his kind should all be dead, and I will make that happen.
And so she fails. Now, will all of this actually turn out to be the case? Will heaven be revealed to be the Helliverse's version of limbo? Maybe. I mean, there's this super weird planet up in the sky that hasn't been explained at all. Maybe that's the real heaven. But the most important thing this theory does is build on the themes of the show, right? Has-Been Hotel is all about how people aren't necessarily who they appear to be on the surface. You might look at someone and see a promiscuous, lustful spider boy, or a drunk addicted to gambling, or a tiny cyclops obsessed with stabbing and cleaning things up. But all of us, we are more than what you can see at a first glance. The people born on the wrong side of the fence here, the folks who ended up in hell, aren't actually all that different than those who ended up in heaven. And if you want to be better, if you want to put in the work to become a better person, well, no one, no matter who you are or where you're from, is beyond redemption. Except maybe Vox. That guy sucks. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory.